Hello everyone and welcome to Season 3 Echo Dome Aldani guide from Warlock PoV. Let's dive straight into the bosses. Azhiccar is a fairly straightforward fight with some ad management. Every so often the boss casts Invading Shriek, summoning frenzied mites. These can't be taunted and they jump on random players, dealing damage and gaining a stacking damage buff with each jump. The best way to handle them is to stack on the tank and cleave them quickly. The boss also marks two random players with toxic regurgitation, dealing some initial damage, applying a strong dot and dropping a hazard zone. Drop your pools away from the group and pop a defensive to handle the ticking damage. Once he reaches 100 energy, the boss casts Devour, summoning 6 mites, 3 from each of 2 random portals. These mites don't attack, they just stand still while the boss pulls them and your group towards himself to try and eat you. Your job is to kill the mites before the boss consumes them or before the channel ends. If he eats a mite or a player, he gains a stack of Feast, dealing massive damage to the group, healing himself and gaining a big damage buff for a while. One stack is survivable, but more than that becomes a struggle. Taah'bat the Ethereal and A'wazj the Lizard are another fairly simple fight. The fight starts with the Ethereal riding the Lizard. Periodically, 2 random players are targeted by Binding Javelin. After a short delay, the javelin strikes, tethering each player to a marked zone, slowing them and dealing increasing damage over time. Kill these as quickly as possible. If you're marked, move near the tank so your group can cleave down both javelins. Just make sure not to overlap. The boss also randomly targets your group with Warp Strike, dealing some initial damage and applying a weak stacking dot. Stay away from marked players to avoid unnecessary stacks, especially because this matters in the next phase. At 100 energy, Ethereal dismounts and becomes incorporeal, taking 99% reduced damage. The Lizard enters Arcane Overload, dashing between random players, all while the Ethereal channels a group-wide damage. To end this phase, you need to hit Ethereal with Lizard's phase strikes. Each hit removes part of the incorporeal effect. Once Ethereal is hit 6 times, the effect drops and both bosses are stunned for 15 seconds. This is your burn window, so use big damage cooldowns. After the stun ends, Ethereal remounts and phase 1 begins again. Soul-Scribe is the final boss with a lot of movement and positioning. His core mechanic is Whispers of Fate. Periodically, he strikes all players and summons their echoes of fate. He'll then begin trying to destroy them. Your job is to find and pick up your fate before it is killed. If you fail, you'll get Wounded Fate, a strong dot that also drastically reduces your haste. If you succeed, you'll get a damage buff. To destroy your fates, boss will use 2 abilities. Ceremonial Dagger, a beam that deals moderate damage and applies a dot to anyone it hits and kills the targeted fate, and Dread of the Unknown, an AoE circle that detonates after a few seconds, damaging anyone nearby and destroying any fates caught inside. You can only see and collect your own fate. That means everyone needs to grab theirs before Dread expires, or someone might accidentally destroy another player's fate. At 100 energy, the boss casts Eternal Weave. This splits your soul into 3 fates, each appearing at a different location in the arena. He'll then begin casting Arcane Cones in order to destroy them. These casts take time, so the safe move is to collect the 2 fates in the cone's path first, then pick up the third after the first set of cones fires. If you try to grab all 3 at once, you'll likely fail. However, as a warlock with a proper use of movement tools, you can sometimes collect all 3 before the cones go off. Just be aware, if the cone hits you, it will probably one-shot you. If you manage to gather all 3 fates, you'll get a 30% damage amp, so this would be a great time to pop cooldowns and burn the boss. On top of this, during the entire fight, the boss constantly pulses AoE damage, which can wear down your healer, especially during Eternal Weave when they're trying to gather their own fates. Use defensives to help reduce pressure. Echo Dome has quite a few trash mobs worth paying attention to. Overgorged mites cast Gorge, draining health from a random player, and with each successful cast, they get a stack of Overgorged. Once they die, they explode, applying a nasty dot to the entire party for each stack. These are high priority for interrupts and crowd control. Ravenous Destroyers apply Gluttonous Miasma, a dot that pulses in a small circle. Anyone hit by it will heal the destroyer, so don't stack if you have it. They also cast Volatile Ejection, which marks a player with a beam. If targeted, stand still so you don't accidentally clip anyone. Ritualists cast Arcing Energy, which applies a dot to random players. It can be dispelled, but interrupting the cast is better. Farstalkers use Arcing Zap, which hits 4 random players and deals heavy damage. Keep them controlled or interrupted. Overcharged Sentinels are especially dangerous. They start with a shield equal to 50% of their HP. Once the shield breaks, they trigger Unstable Core, which deals damage at intervals to random players and drops Hazard Zones. They also cast a Frontal Cone on the tank, so be aware. Koresh Elementals shield their allies. These shields should be purged whenever possible. Finally, Pact Speakers should always be top DPS priority. They spam cast Arcane Bolt, use Erratic Ritual for high-intensity party-wide damage, and cast Consume Spirit to summon an evoked spirit. They then begin consuming the spirit, getting 99% damage reduction and gaining a stacking shield. You must immediately switch to the spirit, and if you kill it before it's consumed, the Pact Speaker gets stunned and takes increased damage for a short time. And that's everything you need to know about Echo Dome. If you like this guide, give it a like and subscribe. Also check out my other Season 3 dungeon guides and feel free to drop by on my Twitch or other social media. Links are in the description. Thanks for watching and goodbye.